Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rays Rewind with Bell, Bushman, and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back into the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Media Network. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure to go to our YouTube page at the Sick Podcast, Rays Rewind, and hit the subscribe and notification bell. Welcome back in. It is. Should we play taps for this? Like. I can't go higher than that. I'm kind of heavy.
And that works. That works.
As usual, I am the great old Bushman. Joining me as usual is Drew, and we've got our buddy Nick joining us for a nice little discussion. Of course, if you haven't heard the news, the St. Pete deal for the new stadium is officially dead as a doornail, which was announced today by the Rays organization. Not surprised by this. I think we kind of knew something was coming. Either they were going to sell the team or they were just going to say kaput. So it wasn't really shocking. It wasn't shocking to me. I don't know about the rest of you guys on the dais, but I think for the Rays fans that are out there across social media, across the Tampa Bay area, this is it's pretty pissed off news that you can give a fan base that's been, I think, batted around and wanted something to be done, and now we're back to square one again. It's yet another failed attempt by Sternberg and his ownership group to bring a new stadium to the Tampa Bay area. He's 0 for 4 now. He's 0 for 4, which in baseball stats is shitty, and we call that a big goose egg. Fellas, I wanted to get your reaction. Drew, I want to get to you first. What was your reaction when you heard the news that the stadium is dead now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I didn't really expect them. I felt like the writing was on the wall the last few weeks and last month or something, dating back, I mean, to what was it? I don't remember when that radio appearance was with Brian Auld and Matt Silverman, shortly after spring training, right, started, and they came out and basically blamed the government, the city officials, the county officials, whatever, for the delay, and that basically they were in the situation they're in because it was the government officials' fault, not any fault of their own. And just the words that have been said on by both parties, it never felt like the Rays were really going to be in this deal now that they had this kind of out, thanks to the hurricanes. And so I wasn't surprised by the decision. I was more surprised by the timing. I really kind of thought that they would just let it go to the buzzer and just make the call on the 31st or at the end of March, and come out with what they decided to do, which is to pull out of the deal. So I wasn't surprised. I get the frustration, and I'm frustrated too because I want a new stadium in the Tampa Bay area. But it was just, to me, it wasn't unexpected. I also simultaneously am optimistic. I don't know. I mean, like it's a weird place to be because, I mean, I'm just kind of at this point, I just don't see how Sternberg can continue. I mean, there literally is. It's going to come to a head where they are going to run out of time where they're not going to have a stadium past 2028 or 2029. Whatever I know the lease ends in 27 with Trop, but like there's going to come to a point where they are not going to have a stadium to go to. And staying at the Trop long term is obviously not the right move, and it's not what's going to happen. So, and if Sternberg's, I mean, he's obviously, as Mayor Welch said today, he's burned bridges there on the St. Pete side. Hillsboro's never seemed excited about working with them, and that's not gone well in the past. So, I just feel like his hands are tied, and like he's just going to have to back out for the good of the franchise. And what's that quote from The Dark Knight? You you die a hero or live long
Long
enough to
enough to
become
become
a
the villain. The
villain.
villain.
Yeah, and like that's kind of where we're at with. It's a great line. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at with him. Like he's done so many great things for this organization on the field, and everything that you hear about like people working for him, they seem to like him. Um, but for whatever reason, like off the field, politics wise, like getting those relationships built up to get a stadium done, like he's just kind of sucked at it. And so at this point now, he is public enemy number one. I mean, he's not been the Rays fan favorite person in the world the last several years, but especially now. So I'm optimistic that really he's just not going to have a choice unless he just runs this thing into the ground and really
Which
just like
I hope it doesn't happen. And
and I don't think it will. I personally don't think it will. I think we're headed for a sale.
sale. Yeah.
And I know we'll talk about Silverman a little bit and what he said. The team's not for sale. I think there was some
I
specific language in there that was intentional. But yeah, I mean, I'm frustrated for the people that are still in the Tampa Bay area. I'm frustrated as a longtime Rays fan. I want a stadium there where I don't care where it is. To be honest with you, I just want it built. But maybe fingers crossed that this means maybe a new owner coming in and new ownership group and maybe taking this team on a trajectory, that we haven't seen yet. So
I think with what both sides of Hillsborough and Pinellas County politicians would say, hey, we're open to talking about this again, but just not with this ownership group. I mean, he's burned bridges on both sides, and like you said, Drew, it's to the point where you're gonna have to sell this team. MLB's pissed at you. Commissioner Rob Manfred's pissed at you. Everybody here is pissed at you. He's got to learn. He's got to know that, and I can just see him being one of those owners where he's going to be so stubborn into not selling. But he's got to look at it this way: he's going to make a huge profit off of this team if he sells. He's bought this team for $200 million. It's worth over $1 billion. It's worth, I think, 1.3 right now, or 1.35 according to Forbes. That's a nice chunk of change and a nice investment that he did. I mean, I think he's to the point. I think he should know that he should sell by now, because I think it's time with all the whiffs that he's done by, the Ebor plan, which he royally screwed up on, and then the stupid Sister City plan. Now it's got to come. He's got to know as a businessman that it may be time to get off the pot and sell. Nick, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think he's going to be one of those stubborn owners that's just going to try and right the ship and not not sell, or do you think he's just kind of gearing up to try and get this team to be as valuable as he can to sell it for a huge profit?
I realistically don't know how much more he can take. Like seriously, I mean, the best way to put it is that he's burning bridges. It's not just with the people he's been working with, but it's with the organization in general.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what these players are thinking right now, knowing that they're playing for an owner like this. I don't know what type of parade he's going around whenever he's around the players. I don't know. I don't know how the guy is. He might be a nice guy, might be a bad guy. I met him only once. And I made a post today. I said when I met him, this was in 2022, I believe, when the Rays were playing at Tropicana Field for spring training. I met him, and I was nice to him. And I wish I wasn't nice to him. It was because of the fact that he was doing a good thing at the time being. I mean, this is when talks were kind of building up in terms of stadium possibly happening. And I shook his hand, and, I didn't say thank you to him or anything like that. There's nothing to thank the guy for. I mean, yeah, sure, he gave us some money. I guess we're using his wallet, but at the same time, he's done nothing but disappoint the entire fan base. I've never had an experience where I've said Stu Sternberg is a good owner. I've never done that. And I don't think I've ever thought that Stu Sternberg's ever been a good owner. Do I compliment Matt Silverman, Brian Auld, Eric Neander? Absolutely I do, because they are not Stu Sternberg. So the thing is right now, how I look at it as well is if he really wants to build trust back with us and with the people he's worked with, the board of commissioners in Pinellas County and Mayor Welch. I mean, when Mayor Welch, shouts you out like that and calls you out and says that he burned that bridge, Dude, like that's so unprofessional on Stu's side. Like I can only imagine the things he told these people leading up to the events here. So that's how I look at it. I think that burning the bridge is the number one thing right now. I don't think that he has I don't know what he's going to do in terms of selling or not selling. He should sell because everybody hates him. Like I really don't think right now the fan base of the Rays want to see him, hear of him, all this other type of stuff. I think right now what needs to happen and soon rather than later is he needs to sell the team before he ruins the entire team in general. Because I can picture people, I mean, they already say we don't have no fans that show up to the game, but I can see people not actually going to these games. Seriously, I really do.
See, I disagree on that. I think people will show up to Steinbrenner Field throughout the year and watch the team play because you got to remember we're here to support the players, not the owner. And
right.
I think you'll see more and more people go to Steinbrenner Field with shirts like these, if you can find them anywhere. Shirts like with the one behind you that are being sold right now, and then I'm sure you'll hear "sell the team" chants every single game at Steinbrenner Field now because of the way that Sternberg has really kind of alienated the fan base. And now I think it's to a tipping point too, especially when you have politicians that you have burned so many times and had back and forth shouting matches pretty much and pointing the finger where you're the wrong guy. You guys did this wrong. You guys did this wrong where, come to find out it was mostly the Rays that screwed this thing up. So, when those politicians are coming out saying, we want to revisit this, but not with this ownership group, that says a lot. And I think they're at the point where the bridge is burned, it's to ash, and there's no way to rebuild it now. So he's got to look at that and say, okay, my only option here is to sell the team. And I think we're all wishing that too, because it comes to a point where, when you should know that the fan base and maybe even the players, I feel bad, not only the players, but also the front office people and the people that work inside the executive team and the people that are the ticket people, the concession people, all those people that, are, I wouldn't say the minions, but the people that help make the team run too as well. I feel bad for them because, they have to work for a guy that's just really made a lot of empty promises and hasn't come through with that. So that's what I really feel bad for is those types of people. And also the fan base. You try to have a team that's been here for over 25 years. You're trying to build up that generational fan base, which, look, we're still a young team by baseball standards, but when you're trying to build a fan base and compete with the big dogs of the world like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Red Sox and have, fans come out to the stadium, this isn't the way to do it. That you're going to detract and make people not come to the stadium by doing things like this because of your empty promises and just, whiffing after whiff of trying to build a new stadium, whether it be here in St. Pete or over the bridge in the Tampa Bay area. Drew, I know you and I we listened to the call today on T. Kreis's show with Matt Silverman. A lot of the things he said, and you said this, pre-show, was you kind of feel bad for him because he was pretty much carted out there and was the voice for Stu Sternberg with the amount of questions that T. Kreis was saying to him and asking him about the whole situation. The one thing that really stuck out to me the most was, Silverman said the deal wasn't a slam dunk. Well, if the deal wasn't a slam dunk, then why do it to begin with? And look, you can play the hurricane card all day about the hurricane made this deal fall through. You can play that all day, but if you guys knew this deal wasn't going to be a slam dunk to begin with, you shouldn't have done it. And you shouldn't have done the parade. You shouldn't have done the rah-rah, handing out here to stay t-shirts and doing this pageantry of, hey, we're going to be here for a long time. We're going to build a stadium. It's lies after lies. It's just a big clown show. And Drew, I wanted to get your thoughts on, Matt Silverman, because when I heard him on T. Kreis's show, it just seemed like he was, it was canned responses that he was told to say. He sounded a little defeated. He sounded a little nervous too, being on the air trying to answer those questions that T. Kreis was pressing him on because, we've talked about our local radio personalities here in Tampa Bay, and a lot of the times they're sometimes kissing the ass of the Rays brass, but T. Kreis kind of he was trying to get to Matt Silverman, but Silverman was just kind of saying the same things we've been hearing the past year or past couple months because of the stadium.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying pre-show. I felt I felt bad for him in the sense that I mean he had to take essentially 30 minutes of questions on the radio that were pretty. It was pretty pointy questions, and I mean having a obviously say things in a specific way that entire time without, while maintaining some, confidence himself and what he was saying. I don't know. He was very good at what he does in that moment. So I had I have respect for him in that way. Again, we just talked. Obviously, he's out there for Sternberg, right? He's doing what his boss is obviously having him do, having him say the talking points that are put out there. I don't think he's out there trying to vilify himself to the fans. Certainly, just trying to do what we all do, work for the man, right? So, yeah, I thought the biggest thing you kind of mentioned it. The thing that caught my attention the most was he mentioned specifically that they felt like this deal, present day, not like even when that deal happened, back in the summer, whenever it was, late summer, that the attendance, they need a deal, they need a stadium where they felt like they could have, the attendance would be better, that they would, he believe he'd say, become a middle of the pack major league team in terms of, I believe he meant in terms of attendance, obviously, because on the field they've been in the top third for much of the last decade. It really since 2008, top five in wins, right, or something like that. So, but like he mentioned the attendance numbers and he mentioned payroll, as in that they felt like this deal wasn't going to allow them, this stadium wouldn't allow them to obtain those higher attendance numbers and the payroll numbers. Well, yeah, none of that changed. Like that was what was weird to me is like they hadn't said that at all in any of the backlash that they've been giving to the politicians in this whole back and forth since the hurricanes, right? There was no talk about attendance or payrolls, all about the hurricanes and the delay
Yep.
and it's going to be more expensive. And now it was like all of a sudden they're saying they don't really feel the stadium was going to help in the attendance department enough and have enough of an impact on payroll, and they need a stadium that's going to better able to do that for them. That was a new line that they had not been giving this entire time. Um, since everything went south from the hurricane. So that was the most interesting thing to me, that they went right to attendance and payroll because, like
Because
you mentioned,
that's
like
the thing they could
that's not changing. That's
yeah,
not changing
that's
from
the
the
thing they
beginning
could always
of the
fall
deal.
back on, Drew, is
Yeah,
the attendance sucks and they're not going to make enough money, and then the payroll,
it's
the
like
attendance, the attendance.
did they calculate the wrong numbers or something with the stadium the first, like that's what so them for them to fall back on it to me is like it's like that seems pretty cheap to me.
It's a
Like
cop
that,
out.
it's a
It's a
cop out.
cop
Thank
out.
you.
It's a
That's the
cop out.
word. Yeah, it's a cop out. And so I don't know. The whole time I was like, it felt like he was angling for a state. Like, okay, they mentioned attendance and payroll. We all know a stadium that's going to boost attendance and help with payroll is a stadium in Oldsmar. I'm just kidding. It's in Tampa, right? It's in Tampa, Florida. It's in Ybor City. It's the fairgrounds. It's by the waterfront. I don't care. It's on top of the freaking JW Marriott in Water Street. I don't care. Like it's somewhere in Tampa Bay or in Tampa, Florida. So to me, his whole deal on the radio today, I felt like was trying to open that door back up. Again, and we'll talk maybe about those team sale comments later, but like it just felt like he had to say things in a certain way that had to give some credibility to why they were backing out, which everybody would agree, like attendance and payroll. Like, okay, we knew from the beginning, like St. Pete was not going to be a great spot for attendance, even though the stadium was going to be great and it would probably help for a while. Long term, probably not the best solution. So, like, you're saying things we already know, so they're going to fall back on that because it's at least a believable response. At the same time, let's open that door back up to Tampa because, if there's a sale coming, maybe it helps things out in the future for that. I don't know. It felt very calculated, and surprising too.
Do you guys think, there could be a sale? Now, obviously, a sale like this takes a while. I mean, you have a lot of parties included. It's a multi-billion-dollar deal for a major league team to get sold to another buyer. Do you think in the next year this team will be sold?
I want to say yes.
Yeah, I'm getting a yes from Nick. Drew,
I
what do
want
you
to say yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah. Yes, that's my short answer. Yes.
I say yes. I just think that with this is that again with this whole elite group that I've been reading up on, I know that they are very actually they really want to get this team. Like they are very, pushy and they want to get this done and they want to have the team. So, but the thing is that Stu is asking for 2 billion when the team is only worth 1.3. So there's that $700,000 gap that you have to deal with. Do they want to risk $700,000, which I'm sure they probably can not afford it, but it's probably really nothing, especially if you have a whole elite group, is what they say. I don't really know how many people are within this group, but if you have an elite group of billionaires that are or multimillionaires that are willing to put in this money, and it's it's the extra 700,000 that's probably scaring them because they know how it is with the past and kind of going back to the attendance aspect of it and how St. Pete isn't really that big of a market. They're probably a little bit nervous about it, but at the same time, that's a risk you have to take as an owner. And Stu Sternberg only buying the team back then, what was 2006? He bought the team, I believe it was, and it was what $200 million he bought the team for, majority owner. He's made a billion off of this team if you really think of it. So I mean, the guy invested 200 million, made a billion. If they want to go ahead and they want to invest 2 billion. Next thing you know, they could probably double in profit right there if they do the correct things. So like, if kind of going on to moving to Tampa, you have a whole big market there. The Buccaneers do well every single game. The Lightning do outstanding every single game. I mean, it's damn near sold out. Sorry for you saying, but it's sold out almost every single game. And I genuinely think that that could be a possibility with the Rays. If you get the right thing going, you give the people what they want, and you market the team correctly. And that's just how I look at it. But I say yes, the team will be sold soon. I feel soon.
Jay Retcher came up with a good point on his podcast this afternoon where, it's got to be an experience going to games like this. Like when you go to the Lightning games, it's an experience. You paid a lot of money to go see a show. And I think with a new ownership group, hopefully it puts in a breath of fresh air and a boost of maybe a new experience when it comes to the Rays, especially having a new stadium for a team that like this. I mean, coming into the season, I had a lot of optimism coming in because of the group that we had, but more and more, I think this team is going to be more competitive than I think everybody teams are going to be, which makes this kind of sad because, you thought with a team like this that could surprise a lot of people, and then you would have a shiny new stadium that's going to get built, has now been crushed by the owner himself saying, this it's not a good deal. We didn't have enough money. It's like I don't understand how you could call this deal not a good deal. This is probably one of the best deals that you can get, especially when it comes to the real estate money that you're going to get off too on the land development. And that was the big selling point, was the land development. You're going to be putting in shops and apartment buildings and museums and converting the stadium that you're going to be putting in there as an event center too. So you're going to be putting on concerts and all kinds of stuff. T-Crat said it the most. This is the best deal that you could have gotten, and you just kind of pissed it all away. And to me, he's exactly correct, where again, the Rays ownership group is just a bunch of, they are the smartest, dumbest group of smart people I've ever encountered in sports. And I think when it comes to owners, he's probably one of the worst. I mean, Vince Naimon, look, listen, I know he brought a team to St. Pete. He wasn't that great of an owner, but I think with Stu, look, he's done a lot for this team and made it into a winner, changing the culture, changing the name, being competitive for the past 20 odd years. Last year was kind of a fluke, but he's done a lot of success on the field. When it comes to off the field stuff, he's below 500 in my book. I mean, especially marketing the team to the area. The timing of putting up the Montreal banner during the playoffs was another swing and a miss. So, the thing, it just doesn't add up about, look, you can do well in the field, but when it comes to the off-field stuff, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I really hope this, put some fire underneath him to sell, or, Major League Baseball really can't, they can pressure him all they want. I mean, they really can't kick him out unless he commits a felony, or, he kills somebody or does a Ponzi scheme. So I really hope they pressure him enough, and the other owners do as well, to say, look, you need to sell. The best thing you can do for you and yourself is to sell the team and sell to somebody that's going to really take care of this team and have hopefully this ownership group that is highly invested into the team. They have deep pockets too. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people are kind of scared about is, okay, if this ownership group comes in, are they going to have deep pockets, to put into the stadium and put into the new team? Because, we have taxpayers. Now, obviously, it doesn't affect me. I'm in Manatee County, so it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you, Drew. You're up in the Carolinas. But when it comes to the taxpayers' money, the taxpayers don't really want to pay for a brand new stadium. Some people don't. So you want to have an ownership group that's got really deep pockets and are going to put in a lot of money into this. How much would this be funny? Where somebody posted this today on X, where the World Series would be against the A's and the Rays, two teams that are displaced right now in different stadiums because of ownership. One's moving to Las Vegas and one's just kind of Drew.
That's impossible.
I know. Yeah,
It's
but
impossible.
wouldn't it be magical? Wouldn't it be funny where the two teams that were displaced are in the World Series?
Well, did you so in Silverman's radio thing today, did you hear him say, "I hope we're playing a World Series in front of the smallest crowd in history"? And I was like, "Oh my gosh, breaking news. If the Rays make the playoffs, they're going to be playing it at Steinbrenner Field." I mean, I don't know if he meant that, but
I mean, again, something you maybe shouldn't say on the air to piss off people.
Yeah. Could you imagine how expensive those tickets would be?
They're expensive now.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They actually dropped. They actually dropped. Right now, home opening day is actually not like $40. Originally, it was like $130.
Okay.
Seriously?
I just looked today. They're only $40, so I seriously might go now.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at this live on our podcast.
I'm looking at it live right now.
I was planning to go while we were there because I'm actually gonna be in Lakeland 2 weeks from now. We're celebrating my son's first birthday with my wife's family, and my wife and I were gonna go opening day. And I looked at the prices, and I was like, it was gonna be $300 for us to just go for the two of us.
I was gonna go up to Fergs and just watch the game.
Yeah, I think someone posted that. Said I'll be right there too.
Yeah, Nick is right. The tickets are now $40-$50. Like for good sections too.
I would be so ticked if I bought tickets 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. A good thing I didn't because I kind of had a feeling that this was going to kind of happen. I don't know if it's because tickets were just too high and just people weren't buying, or I don't know. But
wait.
Even tickets behind home plate are like $70.
Wait, what game are you looking at?
I'm looking at opening day, Friday, March 28th.
Why am I seeing?
Huh? This changes everything now.
Wait, no. The most I'm seeing is the cheapest I'm seeing is 132.
No,
what are you looking on?
Yeah,
I'm on a team site.
So I'm on Ticketmaster.
I just looked at Ballpark, and Ballpark app has 132 cheapest.
Yeah, I'm on Ticketmaster, and they're cheap tickets.
Okay, so they're definitely scamming us then. I think Stu Sternberg has something to do with this.
See, this might change everything for me now. I think I might go to the game instead of going to Fergs if the tickets are this cheap.
See, the thing is that I would love to have a game where we get everybody together and we just go out and protest. I don't know how that will go, but I posted something about it today, and I have like 150 people who said they liked it, but like I don't know. I don't know if I'm thinking too much or.
Nah, I think protesting is all fun and games and all, but I mean, it's you have to have large numbers in groups.
Yeah,
it's I did a grassroots effort from South Carolina last year to try and get a standing O for Randy Rosarina, and I think I probably got like what we probably think like.
It was Drew. It was
1,000 people.
Look, it was a success in my book. I was at the game, and to me, it was a success. And look, our local media was talking about it.
I know.
So to me,
I wish I would have been there in person because I would have been like at the stadium gate, like, guys, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it can happen, Nick. You can get it going. Just gotta.
You know what I would do, Nick? You know what I would do, Nick, is either call in the Pat and Aaron show and say, let's get the Goon Squad together and let's do protesting.
Although I don't think the official Rays radio home
Yeah, they would not
station's
like
going to
that.
be like, yeah, let's.
Oh yeah,
let's
yeah, they
move on.
probably won't. The
They
thing
wouldn't.
is I reached out to I actually just replied to it, Commissioner Chris Lakvala, which he's been amazing. Like this entire thing has been going on. I mean, he's been on top of everything. He's been outing Sternberg and all this other type of stuff, and he knows everything, obviously, because he's on the board of commissioners in Pinellas County. But I told him, I said join us for a protest outside of Steinbrenner before the game. He goes, it's not appropriate for me, but the fans, knock themselves out. Go ahead and do it.
What a character turnaround for that guy. Once hated by everybody in the fan base, and then he totally turned it around to be like the hero, to be the hero of the fan base because of what went on. And he's been super vocal about what's been going on in the Rays stadium situation. Before we head out, guys, honest opinions. Do you think a new stadium will? Well, actually, let me dial it back. Do you think the Trop will be fixed before 2026? Do you think we'll get a new stadium? And I'm not going to ask you a third question because we already know the answer if Stu's going to sell the team. So first question, will the Trop be ready by 2026 opening day?
I hope so. I think it will, but I don't know.
I'll say yeah. I mean, I just don't think they have another choice.
I mean, they said it's on pace, but I mean, that, we also we're told that there was going to be a new stadium coming around, but, they lied to us on that as well. So can you really trust them?
And that's the thing. That's the thing about it, is the trusting thing is the biggest thing is, with this clown show of a front office, you can't really trust what they're saying now because, first they were, I heard today that they've already started to begun, clearing out the Trop and getting stuff in there to make sure that, everything's ready for opening day. But I don't trust that. I don't trust that one bit until I see cleaning crews go into the Trop, then I don't believe you. So I just, Drew and I, we talk about this on the show all the time. It's becoming a broken record every single year. And now this record has been smashed into 1,000 pieces. And now you have to try and pick it up and glue it back together, which I don't think that's going to happen. I think what now the fans need to do is, as we're getting closer to opening day, is don't think about this anymore. Support the team, support the players, support the coaches, and support the people that make the team the team. So that's what we need to focus on, is the focusing on supporting them. Let's screw the front office. Hopefully they sell. Hopefully in Major League Baseball can pressure Stu enough to sell the team, and hopefully we can get an ownership group that takes care of this team with deep pockets and keep them here in the Tampa Bay area and put them over in Tampa where they should be. But I think everybody needs to know is, let's support the players, because that's the most important thing, is supporting the players. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Stadium Deal is dead. Once again, thanks for joining in to the Rays Rewind podcast. Make sure to go to our YouTube page at the Sickest Podcast, Rays Rewind, hit the notification and subscribe bell. Nick, thanks for joining us in. We'll have you back again, probably once we get closer to opening day. But thanks again, guys. We'll see you later on the Rays Rewind podcast. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with L. Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.